Marisa Yvette Utley, and I am the Chamber of Commerce Ambassadors President for 2015, along with my committee of Didi Arizmendez, Nena Pitts, and Pete Beltran, Ophelia Hunter. We put this event together today. We want to thank the city for giving us the privilege of hosting this event, and to let you know that all the proceeds from this event do benefit scholarships for 2015 graduating seniors. Along with that, I would like to thank all of our table sponsors who made this event possible. Our gold sponsors are Plains Capital Bank, Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson, Naismith Engineering, Alice Chamber of Commerce. The City of Alice was gracious enough to purchase 2 tables to help us out. And L&L Enterprises. Our silver sponsors are Coastal Bend College, Christus on Alice, the Economic Planning Group. Our bronze sponsors are Wells Fargo Bank and HEB. I'd like to acknowledge my fellow ambassadors, if you could please stand and be recognized. They put in a lot of work today. And my committee, please. Thank you. And I looked at this place, and 30 years ago, as a child, my father was in the National Guard, and this place was full of fatigues and convoy and army boots, and Mr. Rene Villarreal did an excellent job transforming this place into a lovely banquet hall. He did donate his services for our decorating, so we want to thank him and RSVP Events. We want to thank the final touches of our landscaping here, courtesy of Mr. Pete Beltran and Cynthia Beltran, owners of Green Rings Nursery. Also, we want to thank and acknowledge the AHS Culinary Club, their sponsor Barbara Garcia, for their hard work. They got here early to set everything up for you. We'd like to thank all the individual tickets that were sold and purchased. We appreciate your support as well. And at this point, I will turn it over to our Masters of Ceremony for the luncheon, and that would be our Pro Tem Mayor, Michael Esparza.
Thank you, Marisa. I would like to officially, and on behalf of the Alice City Council and the Mayor, officially welcome you to the 2015 State of the City Address by Mayor Larry Martinez. I'd also like to thank again the ambassadors and the committee that put this together. It was a big help, it was a lot of work, and also the city staff that assisted them. It takes a lot to put something like this together, and also thank you, the crowd and the citizens, for being here and wanting to listen to what our city's doing and how we're doing. We have a schedule today, and we're going to run through it. It's a pretty easy event. We're going to have the presentation of colors by the Alice High School Air Force Junior ROTC. We'll have a pledge and the national anthem, the lunch, and then the address by Mayor Larry Martinez. This thing says that our lunch is going to be about 15 minutes. I think we can probably take longer than that to eat if we need to. So I think we'll be okay. So we'll go ahead and get started, guys. We have the presentation of the colors by the Alice High School Air Force Junior ROTC. Please stand. We're going to have a pledge by Nena Castillo-Pitts, Chamber of Commerce President for 2015.
Please join me in pledging to the greatest country in the world. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to its republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we're going to have the national anthem by Megan Garcia, a junior at Alice High School.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the lion's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
As is customary to us, we acknowledge our faith in God before every city council meeting, and we acknowledge our faith today with an invocation from the Reverend Pedro T. Elizardo Jr. from St. Joseph Catholic Church.
Let us pray. Almighty ever-living God, we do thank you for the gift of the city of Alice. We thank you for the community that it is and that it has become. Thank you for all of our neighborhoods. Thank you for the citizens who call this home. Thank you for the businesses who have established themselves here out of great belief that they may persevere and prosper. We just ask that you watch over our mayor and our city council and all of their efforts they apply so that they may better serve the community of Alice and help it grow in all of its goodness. We also ask that you watch over all of our city employees. Thank you for their dedication and their services that at times go unappreciated, but nevertheless, they still dedicate themselves. May we never fail to appreciate their dedication. We ask that you watch over our young people. Watch over all of our schools, that they may be rid of whatever hinders our young from being able to learn in the peacefulness that they deserve. And watch over all our police officers and firefighters and all of those who dedicate themselves in a very selfless way so that we may be at peace going wherever we may go, whether it's to the local grocery store or on a trip out of town and leaving our homes behind, knowing that they will be safe because there is someone watching over us. Thank you for all that makes this community what it is, a community of goodness, a community of friendship, and a community that you have made, blessed by your presence. May all who are here this day, and all who will call Alice home in the days that lie ahead, always be welcomed as the friendly neighbor, and they always need experience a community that only knows how to be united in times that are perhaps testing and challenging, but also in times that are good and prosperous. We ask all of this that you bless and grant the grace that our leaders need to continue to serve us with great fidelity and great honesty and great selflessness, so that everyone who looks towards them will know that they are there simply to serve and not to be served. And we ask all this in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Okay, with that, we're ready to get started with lunch. So everybody enjoy, have a seat, and we'll be back in about 20 minutes or so. I don't know if it's stuffy for you guys, but if somebody has a key to the garage, or maybe we can crack that open and get some air coming in. Let's see. Enjoy lunch. We're back to get started, continuation with the program. Hope you guys are enjoying your lunch, but we're going to continue on. One of the many things that Mayor Larry Martinez has strived to accomplish is a good working relationship with our other governing bodies. So today, to introduce our mayor, it is an honor to have with us our county judge, Judge Pete Trevino.
Thank you all very much for being here. It's a great event, and I want to thank everybody who put this together, and the Culinary Arts Club. You all done a very good job. We appreciate you guys. And of course, I'm grateful for the Father. Thank you for the blessing, and I'm grateful for our Jim Wells County leaders, our officials. They work tirelessly to move our county forward and to ensure that we have a bright future. I'm also grateful for our leaders, our mayor, our city council, who also work tirelessly to ensure that the great city of Alice, America is moving forward and continues its pursuit to social mobility, attaining a higher level of economic and social well-being. As Jim Wells County, we continue to foster partnerships and work with our cities, Alice, Orange Grove, Fremont, Bembo, and San Diego. It is our goal to work side by side with our ISDs, with our community college, Coastal Bend College, with our small businesses, our oil field companies, and all the companies for that matter, and for our healthcare services, providing safe, healthy, stable communities where citizens need assistance will benefit. For our veterans who can also get their assistance that they need. Most importantly, for our kids and our children, that we work together not only to sustain, but to create economic development that will create lucrative positions when they return back from college. And it is incumbent of us as a city and a county to work closely with our people in the capital, Senator Juancho Hinojosa, State Representative J.M. Lozano, and in Washington with our Congressman Pimbon Vela. When we do these things and we show that we work together, everybody has a hand in it. It is incumbent upon us that at times of controversy and concern, that it's not about us against them. It's about supporting each other for the best possible solutions. And throughout my talk, you've heard the word "our" a lot, numerous times. And that's exactly what it is. It's our city, Alice, America, and it's our county, Jim Wells. And we have to work together with our community to make Alice, America the best it can be. Now, I will introduce our mayor. It's funny because I had my speech and the mayor's credentials, and mine's 14 font and his is 11, and his is more than my speech. So I'm not going to cut in too much of your time, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, he's a loyal citizen of Jim Wells County all his life. He met his wife Selena Silva Martinez, and raised his beautiful daughter and his son, the late Lawrence Martinez III. And he's a proud member of the St. Joseph Catholic Church. Larry began his public service in 1989, serving as councilman for 10 years. He continues his commitment to the citizens of South Texas by being elected mayor in 2013. So without further ado, our mayor, Larry Martinez.
Judge, congratulations. Thank you. Appreciate that. You kept it down, right? Really good, really good. First of all, most importantly, thank each and every one of you for being up here and staying here and coming to our dinner. That's a really, really big importance for to know that there's a lot of support in the community. And I want to kind of today give you a little synopsis of what we're doing and how we're doing it. I'm getting louder, all right? First of all, let's give a little recognition first up. City council members, would you please stand and be recognized? With us today are Councilman Hinojosa, Frank Hinojosa, Mayor Pro Tem Esparza, Councilman Chapa, I always call her Congressman, but it's Councilwoman Terrell Johnston. She's here with us today. Give a big round of applause. Individuals that are working hard for you each and every time. School board, anybody from the school board here today? Mr. Cochran, you're here with us today. Congratulations for being here. I'd like to thank the school board for all that they do and the commitment they have in this community. And at this time, I'd like to have, if we could please stand and have a moment of silence. I think it's really important in the fact that we just lost one of their colleagues and a really big community member, Mr. Tony Boteo. And I'd like to have a moment of silence in recognition of what a great man he was, what he's done for this community, what he's done for the children of the Alice Independent School District, and what he's meant to each and every one of us. We're going to have a moment of silence. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I know that I think I speak for everybody. We are going to miss that famous first down call that he made at all the football games, but I know that our prayers and our thoughts are with him and his family, and I'd like to give some recognition to him for being a fine individual as an ambassador to Alice. Jim Wells County County Commissioners, would you please stand? District Attorney, we have with us, of course, Mr. Trevino is here with us as well. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you and thank you for being here today. Mr. Trevino, you're absolutely correct, sir, that we work together. I can't feel anything but blessed to know that the working relationship that we have not only with the county, with the school, is what makes Alice Alice. And it's amazing. We're Judge Pete. I get confused with Judge Pete and Father Pete, so they're two different individuals, right? I know that Father Pete's trying to save my soul, and Judge Pete's trying to help us move on economic development, so I hope I can separate those, right? But nevertheless, some great, fine individuals. We were at a restaurant in Chentis last week sometime. We were sitting down, and what was amazing was it was hard for us to eat. It was hard for us to eat because everybody kept coming to us, and they were congratulating us on, wow, we've never seen the county judge and the mayor eating lunch together. I go, that's what we do, right? That's the way we work. And you're absolutely correct, Judge. This is what it's about, because we're one team, we're one Alice. And County Commissioners Court as well. You know, we have a lot of projects that we work on together. I know some of the big issues, Margie, you're there, landfill, all these other things that we're working on. But the best part about it is that we communicate. That's what I want to emphasize today, that very welcome, sir. It's a breath of fresh air to have you on there and to know that we have that working relationship. So thank you very much, and your staff, everybody that works at the courthouse, thank you all very, very much. Chamber people, they work hard too. We're the ambassadors. Stand up for a little recognition. I know y'all got one, right? But I'm going to say it again. Nana Pitts is the president of the chamber this year. Nana does a good job of working and putting things together, and she's always running 100 miles an hour, right? And it's always, where's Nana? Where's Nana? What's Nana doing? So thank you and your staff for what you do. You're our face and recognition for the city. Y'all doing a fantastic job Today, everybody dressed up today, and what y'all did, fantastic. That's Alice, okay? So, I would thank y'all, each and every one, for doing that. EDC, Ralph Gomez isn't here with us today, am I correct? But let me give a shout out to Ralph Gomez for doing a fantastic job as well. Ralph has really been, and I try to keep weekly meetings with Ralph because Ralph is the one that has contacts with the people that want to come to Alice. Whether it be a developer, whether it be a business person, whatever it might be, Ralph is in charge of that. So Ralph does a good job, and I'd like to give him a little recognition because that's a hard job. So Ralph works on projects, presents them to the EDC. ED staff, is there anyone here from ED staff? I know so Mike Day here, Ike is here as well. Please rise to give some recognition because you guys do a really fine job of doing some really, really good things. Thank you guys for being here as well, and EDC staff. Of course, we have our two representatives, Mr. Nojosa and Ms. Johnson, do a fantastic job in representing the City Council there as well. So when you see all these people, you see what is it that makes Alice? You just saw it. You just saw what it is. We all work together and we do things as a team. And it's important that we share that recognition because when we do that, we can always win. It's always a win-win. And that's what I'm here to kind of give you a little bit of a synopsis of what we're doing and how we're doing it. Now, before I go on and deviate from my script, I need to give recognition to two people that are really close to me and dear to my heart, which is my wife, Selena. If I don't recognize her, somebody's going to tell me that. Selena, please stand. She hates to be recognized. And my sister, Norma. I always say that Norma's my older sister, but I think she's younger. I'm not sure how that works. I'm embarrassing her. But these are the two people that are my family, and they've always been very supportive. Thank you guys for being here today. It means a lot to me. I appreciate that. So let's get started. Let's talk about what is it that we've done for the city and what is it we're going to do. Well, the first thing that we did about a year ago, before we had this last State of the City address, we didn't have a city manager. We were in the transition change of getting a city manager. Let me tell you how difficult that was, okay? The difficulty is finding a process and how you hire a city manager. Council, you know how hard it was and all the process that we went through and the length of time. That was a hard thing. But glad to say that we actually hired our city manager was Jesus Garcia. I know some of you have not met him. Where's Mr. Garcia? Mr. Garcia, please stand so everybody knows who you are. Everybody says, I love Mr. Garcia. Everybody calls him Chewy. And we have another Chewy, which is our state representative, our senator. So don't be confused with the two Chewy's. This is the man that runs our city manager's program. Of course, we got Hector also as our finance manager, and he's the guy that tells us yes or no, or whether we got money or we don't have money. So he always knows that he's our go-to control guy, right, Mr. Nojosa? Well, I'm real pleased to announce, ladies and gentlemen, that in our selection with Mr. Garcia, that's really added some stability. I know there was some concerns of what was going on and we didn't have a city manager, but now that we got one, we've added some stability back to the city. The city is in a position now where it's a welcome change to have someone there. Mr. Garcia has worked on a lot of kind of projects. We're updating some of the things that we're doing with HR. We've really tried to develop that program. And in HR, we got, risk management, we got workers' comp issues and things like that that are costing the city money. Mr. Garcia has been able to come in here and do some really good things, try to implement some new projects, and kind of give us a work in progress of what's going on in the city. So there's a lot of internal things that are going on in the city that are saving us money, giving us an opportunity to maybe change things, but make things better. That's always something that we're continuing to do. So, Mr. Garcia, you've done a fantastic job. I'm very proud of what you've done. It's a never-ending job, but we're always going to continue trying to get better. So thank you for your work and your hard efforts, sir. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. Just the other day, on one of our request proposals, we had an insurance bid, and it was submitted. We're actually paying about $340,000 to our insurance contract. After we did the rebid, that came in at probably about $140,000. Am I correct, Mr.? He looks at me when I'm talking numbers, right? And so when you really look at that and talk about things that we save money on, that was almost $190,000 savings. Those are the things that we look at. And I'm real proud to tell everyone today that with that and our staff and the recommendations, that's what we do. And that's what they do. So that's really important that we have the staff and we have the individuals that are sharing that so that they can help us save money. And that way we can move on to our objectives. And of course, everybody wants to save money, right? So that's a good thing. Now, the other thing that we did is that we also had our police chief, Mr. Ramon. I don't know if he's here with us today, Rex Ramon. We just hired Rex Ramon, and I'm real pleased to tell everybody that Mr. Ramon has done a really fine job of looking at what's going on and how we're doing it. We have some interlocal agreements that we've established with Duval County and with Jim Wells County. And in those agreements, what we're doing is working hand in hand with these people that are doing to fight crime. I know that we've made some really good busts, our narcotics bust, and we've done a lot of things because we feel that what happens in Duval County and in San Diego and Benavides and filters into Alice. So we're approaching it from a regional effort, and doing what we're doing regionally, that helps the city of Alice. So those are some of the positive things that we're doing, and we're always moving and doing everything forward. We're looking at we always work with the sheriff and their department. So I feel very positive, and you should also feel very positive that we're doing the right things to make sure that we protect the safety and the integrity of the citizens of Alice. So those are really good things. Now let's talk a little bit about what we've done in ordinances, okay? There's a lot of ordinances that we've passed. I'm pretty sure that everybody's aware of them. Our local media does a good job of presenting our ordinances coming out with things. But some of the positive things that we've done were the most ones that were a little debatable was our smoke-free environment ordinance. You know, when we passed that, I know the council was debating back and forth on how we did that. You know, there was some debate on whether it was possible or not possible. Should we do it? Should we not do it? But I can actually assure you today that that was really a great thing. What that did was provide an environment for families to attend with our restaurants and our local sessions and our local places, so that's a smoke-free environment. I've had nothing but positive results from the business owners that say that they like it, they welcome it, and it's actually helped their business from a revenue standpoint. So these things that we did were not just because the city council wanted to do them. There was a lot of thought behind it. There was a lot of things that we did in order to ensure that we had a smoke-free environment. And that was a big help, ladies and gentlemen, because that told us that we're doing the right thing. Was there some ones that didn't want it? Absolutely. Could have been some of the smokers. We've got to push them outside. We know we are, right? But nevertheless, that was a really good thing that we did. When we talked about safety and what we did on the ordinances as well, we also talked about texting, of course, and hands-free. I know I was guilty of it before. I've stopped it because I don't want to get a ticket in the city of Alice. The last thing I want is to get a ticket in the city of Alice for violating the ordinance of texting, right? So I've seen that there's been a really positive change with that. I've seen that the people accepted it really well in Alice, Texas. I think Radio Shack was happy because they got to sell more Bluetooths or the wireless stuff. But nevertheless, I think that was a real positive thing. The council should be commended for taking that by the horn, by the bull by the horns, and really doing some really positive things with that. That's been really safe. If we've saved one life in Alice, Texas, because of no texting and driving while we're texting, then it's worth the accomplishment. So, council, thank you all for doing that, and those are some of the things that were important and why we did what we did when it came to ordinances. Now, let's talk about something that's got a little bit more meat to it. Let's talk about something that we did that was probably a little controversial, and it was something that we thought we had to do. Let's talk about utilities, okay? Now, probably one of the hardest decisions, and I go for myself and part of the council as well, is what we did on utility rates. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a hard decision. That was something that we implemented and we had a lot of study with. But let me assure you, and you know, even though I did vote on the council, I fully supported what they did and why they did it. Nobody likes a rate increase. Nobody wants to know that you're raising my rates. I don't like it. I have to pay the same bill, right? But in the reasoning of what we did and how we did that, let me explain to you how that worked. And it's real simple. It's a business decision. And looking at the studies and looking at the numbers that we have on revenue was telling us that if we're bringing in $600,000 a month and our expenditures are $700,000 a month, we have a $100,000 deficit every month. You multiply that by 12 months, that's $1.2 million. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why we did it. When we look at what we do and how we do it, we have to look at our budget and what we do in our general fund. Our general fund is what we call, we have our budget, but our general fund is the monies that we use to pull out when we don't have budget accounts. You cannot deplete your general fund and expect to get away with, I'll take it out of the general fund and then we need that money for other projects. In the recognition of what we did and how we did it with the city council, what we did was that we felt that it was important that we need to make that utility fund a self-supporting system. Any business decision, you business owners out there understand how that works. You cannot take money out of your savings account and hope that you keep that money in the savings account. The council was compassionate, brave enough to understand how that worked. So when we look at those numbers, we look at what it is that we did and why we did it. So let me assure you today, I do not like the fact that we raised those rates. I don't like the fact that it's really hard, I know, to fix income people, the retirees, people like me as well. But we are looking at that, and we are looking to make sure that we do the right thing. And when we look at what those numbers are, and I know we'll probably review them here in a short period of time, we're going to make sure that we did the right thing. So by no means do I want to tell you here today that well, we did it because we just wanted to do it. We did it because we had to do it, ladies and gentlemen. And there's no doubt about it. I stand by that position. I stand in full support of what the city council did, and I know that they did the right thing. As hard as it was, and as difficult as it was, we implemented that project because that was the best plan, the best business plan for the city of Alice. Now, let's talk a little bit about the landfill. That's another story for you. I know I've been talking about a little bit what Margie was saying and what they're doing. When we have a rate increase in what we looked at with the landfill, that affects a lot of people. That affects a lot of the business people. I've had business people come up to me telling me, Larry, this is really a little bit more expensive, and this is, I said, well, let's adapt to it. Let's see what it is that we can do to work with it. So we've had some business people come up, and we've shared some thoughts, and we're working on those plans. But it's real simple, ladies and gentlemen. When we talk about landfill, we're talking about what expense that we had at the landfill. Last year, we passed $2.2 million to do in landfill. We had to expand that to $2.7 million. And again, it boils down to real simple arithmetic. When we did the study was telling us that we're charging $25 a ton for people to dump into our landfill. When we did that study, the study says that it costs us $46. Any mathematicians out there know that if you're selling it for $25 and it's costing you $46, how long are you going to be in business? Not too long. So when we looked at that study, we determined that the city came up with that project. Now, we understood how that worked. The council put the numbers together. The staff helped us out and did the numbers. And that told us that, we're going to have to do something with it. And we did it. We did. We had a rate increase. Now, not only did we do that, but we also added a $4 surcharge. Every 4 or 5 years, as we're having to go through landfill expenses, the city has to pay $2.2 million. That's a good chunk of change. And that chunk of change has to get either from our funding imbalance or from certificates of obligation or some type of taxing mechanism. The city at that point pulled that money out of the funding imbalance, and we spent that $2.2 million. Now, what we're realizing also as well is that a lot of the people that were dumping their garbage in our dump or in our landfill were people from out of town. People from cities like Laredo, from cities from Beeville, from Sinton. They were coming in here knowing that what a deal at $25 a ton. Well, we put the numbers to it. We realized that that's not how it works. We cannot give people from outside our county the opportunity to dump at a cheap rate and expect the citizens of Alice to pay for it. That is not fair. So the city council took it upon themselves to say, let's get this thing under hand. Let's make sure that we're charging what we need to. Let's not kill the business people, but let's make sure that we're trying to break even on it. So, when we talk about things that we did in Alice and why we did them, these were two of the big things that we did, ladies and gentlemen. And those were difficult decisions, but they had to be made. Is it controversial? Absolutely. Is it something that we can live with? Probably not, but we're going to work with it. So again, commend council on what they did and how we did it. That's what we did. Now, when we're talking about landfill sales and the life expectancy, it used to be 10, 15 years ago that when you did a landfill, it lasted 7 to 10 years. They no longer last you 7 to 10 years. If you have a lot of people dumping into that landfill, you got a 3 or 4 year life expectancy. Guess what? In another 4 years, we got to spend another $2.2 million at that rate. It could be larger because you know how things are priced up when they go on. So those are some things we're looking at. And right now, we are in the planning stages, Mr. Garcia, am I correct, for another landfill site. Those things take about 6 to 8 years for the planning aspect. So we have to be cognizant and know that in another 3 or 4 years, we're probably going to be looking at another landfill. But the good thing about it is that we control our destiny. We don't have to go pay someone else to dump our trash and do our garbage. We're able to control that. Here in the near future, I think that and talk to Judge Trevino and what we do and how we do it, I think it's important, Judge, that we enter some type of agreement on how we can help the county and maybe do a joint process. That's something in the future that maybe we can talk about. But this is, in the spirit of working together, that's something that I think is important. So when we talk about utility rates and we talk about landfill, those are the things that are affecting this community. Those are the things that are affecting everybody in the pocketbook. The city council is cognizant of it, and the city council knows that we will continue to work on that and try to do better for the citizens so that we can provide that service at a lower rate. Now let's talk about improvements. As most of you are well aware, if you come into the city of Alice on the east side of town, we have a TxDOT project. Okay? Oscar Solis is here with us with TxDOT. He's been real good and real gracious with us and helping us out with that project. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a $2 million project. Am I correct, Mr. Solis? $2 million project. The county chipped in $100,000 and the city put in another $100,000. How can you go wrong? A $200,000 investment for $2 million. How's that going to look when we come into the community and people see how we beautified Alice, how we made it safer, how we've seen that it's really going to help the business community in that side of town to know that we can drive down that road. We have the ingress, outgress, know that those sites are ready to go so they can turn off and provide good safety for the citizens. I'm excited for it. I keep telling Oscar, when are we going to turn the lights on? Because I want to see the lights come on. That's going to be a really cool thing to see that. So I know that that's probably going to be finished up in about April. Is that correct, sir? Sure. So once we get that online, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be a really, really nice thing. And that's something that we did in the council and the commissioners court was real instrumental in getting those things together. So in addition to that, the council went ahead and spent an additional $50,000 for that small road going from not Medical Center Drive, but Alice Chevrolet. There's Pete Gannis in the back. Alice Chevrolet to Spawn Hospital. There wasn't an access road there. The crews were taking care of that road. We spent some additional money to provide that. We felt that it was a safety issue. We felt that it was important that we had that for the business people, and we implemented that as well. So, and what we did and how we did it, I think it really worked out really well. We got it at a pretty cheap price. It initially started at $100,000, right, Oscar? Yes, sir. And Oscar was instrumental in helping us get it down to 50. So we say 50,000. Thank you, Oscar, for appreciate that. Every 10, 20, 50,000 helps, right, sir? Absolutely. Thank you for your help on that. We appreciate that. So when we see some of the things that we've done in reference to what we've done to beautify and commit safety, we want to see the positive things. Of course, we've got 2 restaurants. Everybody loves Taco Bell. Everybody loves the Papanda. That's a really good thing. They've really had some really nice visibility to our 44 corridor. So we're hoping optimistic. I think I know with Ralph and EBC and the Chamber, we're really trying to attract more business, more restaurant business, more diversification on what we do. I know everybody wants a salad bar, you know, so we're working on just a whole different slew and a whole different things in restaurants. Now let's talk about the certificates of obligations. In our last council, at our last year of the city council, we actually passed what they call certificates of obligations. Those are for things, ladies and gentlemen, that we wanted to improve that we were doing in the city. And some of those projects were the Highland Bridge, the soil erosion, which is about $42,000, the King Street Bridge drainage was $11,000, the Palm Trailer sewer line, Park Trailer line was $177. We need a sewer line for Forbes. That should have been done a long time ago. Josephine Street, you know, the sidewalk, the curb, the gutter. There's a plethora of things that are on here that we are working on. So when you say, well, what is it that we're spending our city money on, and what is it that we're doing? We're working on projects. We're working on things that not only affect our quality of life, but we're also affecting things that when we go down the street, we want to make sure that street is good. Are all the streets in the house perfect? Absolutely not. I'll be the first to attest to that. Are we working to make them better? Yes, we are. These are some of the things that we did and what we passed in the last agenda, or the last agendas, and these are the things that we're working on so that we can have these projects. And let me tell you, some of these projects were really outdated. Some of these projects, when we talk about Palm Trailer Park, they don't have a sewer line out there. They've actually had septic tanks. So we thought it's important that we actually give these individuals this project, because these are things that need to be done, and the city council is continuing and will always continue to work at making these projects better. So when we talk about things that we do, these are the things that we do in that $4.1 million project. Of course, when we look at that, we also look at the replacement water and sewer lines. It's amazing, and my wife tells me this. She goes, I get a call at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, somebody's sewer line collapsed. Well, you know what? We have to work on that. We send a crew out there. There's a lot of sewer lines and water lines that we do that we fix. So those projects are constantly worked on. Those are things that we budgeted money for. And when we look at the $1.1 million at the bottom of the sheet there, that $1.15 million is actually for water and sewer lines that we're replacing throughout the city. We just had some projects that were free replacing. Some other streets that have really been 40 or 50 years old. We're replacing those lines. We're making sure that we're protecting the integrity of the citizens that live in those neighborhoods, because it's time that we do that. So we're working on those projects. We're ensuring that we're funding these projects, and we're making sure that we're moving ours forward. When we talk about what we do for permitting, you know, one of my biggest issues that concern me, and I know the city council as well, is that when you go apply for a permit at the city hall, you go through a process. What we've done in the process is from inspection all the way to engineer. What is it that we do and how we do it to make that process better? What we've done is we've implemented a process where we get our staff to meet on a weekly basis, whether it be engineering, whether it be inspection, whether it be fire, whether it be police, and we let everybody know what's going on, who's filed for permits. How can we make this process better? How can we make this process to where we expedite it, eliminate the red tape? Those are some of the things that we're currently working on. I know Mr. Garcia and Mr. Hinojosa are inclusive in those meetings. So again, what we're doing, how we're doing it to eliminate that, and making sure that we're doing the right things in the community are very, very important. So we're moving forward with that as well. Now, golf course. I don't know how many people are golf course fans here. There's a few, right? Golf course is something that we're also committed to as well. 80% of the play that we have in the golf course is from out of town. That means that out of town means more tax revenue, more dollars, hopefully more hotels, more restaurants, and things of that nature. We're expanding that. We've made a recommitment to it. We have a new golf pro that's working for us. I've gone out there. He's actually doing a lot of work himself. I've seen him on the mower. I've seen him on the blower, and he's done all those things. We're rededicating. We're making that golf course better. There's a commitment from the city council that we do those things because those are the quality of life issues that we want to be recognized and know that we do something for the citizens of Atlas. So I just want to share that with you a little bit. Now, what are we doing when we call to development? As most of you are aware, what we've done is an annexation of about 360 acres on the west side of town. In that annexation, what we've implemented, not only the 360 acres, but we've also implemented what they call PUDs, Planned Unit Developments. What that basically is a less intensive method for zoning. When I talked a little bit about what we're doing, how we're planning, and what we're doing in inspection, and what we're doing for developers, people that are building in our town, these are the things that we implemented. Planned unit development issues are things that will be able to, that if I have a hotel that wants to come here, or I have an apartment complex that wants to come here, that zoning is already changed. They don't have to go to a P&Z council and spend 6 weeks to go to P&Z, and then they have to go to the city council. You know, an 8-9 week process takes forever. People don't like that. They want to be able to do that. We've implemented what they call a PUD. I don't know if any, maybe in Corpus Christi there's one, but in a small city like Dallas, Texas, that's pretty innovative. That's pretty different. And that shows that we made a commitment to development. What good is it if we're pushing development and want to bring business community if we're not making the process easier and more effective and business friendly? So we've implemented the PUDs, we've implemented the annexation, and we're saying that we're open for business in Dallas, Texas, and we want to make it easier. Our motive is to make it bigger, better, and easier. So those are some of the things that the council did as well. Of course, everybody wants to eliminate red tape. Nobody wants bureaucracy. I don't want it. You don't want it. We need to get things done as quick as possible. Now let's talk about a little bit about sales tax. You know, all these things that I'm talking about are affecting where we're at. That's a little bit of a sore subject, but it's a subject that I think needs to be brought up so that we can discuss what it means to us for modern day 2015. If we look at what those numbers were in 2012, we brought in about a $7 million surplus in our sales tax receipts. When you say $7 million, that's pretty impressive, right? And it was. 2012 was that year that everybody was like, wow, this is pretty cool. We're having this money coming in, how do we spend it, what are we doing with it? In 2012, we're actually doing a lot of projects. Of course, some of that projects were for the Texas Boulevard project. Some of those projects were more sewer and water lines. We replaced miles of water and sewer line that helped us to get the areas that had not been taken care of. So when we looked at the 2012 numbers, we said, well, 2012 was great. 2013 was about 4.5. And when we look at 2015, ladies and gentlemen, is about $724,000 surplus. I always tell our finance manager that, you know, it's important, and it's almost, I'm not going to call it a holy grail, Father, because that's not a good thing to do, right? But it's important that what we do and our monies that are coming in at the first 3 or 4 months in our budget year, when we look at what our positives are that on our sales tax receipts, we're ahead. And again, it's arithmetic, ladies and gentlemen. When we see that we budget $900,000 a month for what we do in the city of Atlas, and I get $1.2 million in sales tax receipts, that means I made $300,000 in surplus. I multiply that by the 3 or 4 months, that means I got $800,000. We're watching those numbers. Are the numbers what they were in 2012, 2013? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that is as good as it was at that back time. But what I am here to tell you is that those numbers are positive, those numbers are things that we work with, and those are the monies that we're implementing to make really strategic moves to make sure that we take care of streets, we take care of water lines, we take care of quality of life issues, and those are the things that we work. We're a positive in Atlas. We're going to continue to work forward with the numbers that we have and make it something that's going to be beneficial and work for the city. When Judge talked about being positive and working together, this is what we do, this is how we do it. So let's look at those numbers from a positive standpoint and know that even though the numbers aren't what they were in 2012 and 2013, we're still ahead. We're still ahead on that. So when we look at sales tax, it's important to realize what those numbers were. It's important to realize what those numbers are now. But when we spend those monies for those, we don't just go there and say, well, okay guys, we got $724,000, let's go get a project. No, we think about it. We think about it. We have staff that recommends to us, they tell us what it is that we need to do and how we need to do it. We have council that debates on it. We have the citizens of us that tell us, you know what, council, you know what, mayor, we really think that maybe we should kind of cut back on capital outlay, maybe we should make this investment in the project. So there's a lot that goes into it, but rest assured that the money that we're spending is justified, it's thought out, and it's also in the process of making sure that we do the right thing. So when I talk about sales tax, that's what I talk about. What is it we're doing with the money we spend, and are we being good stewards of taxpayers' money? When we talk about assets and liability, you know, we talk about, okay, well, Larry, you know, we had so much debt over the period, last 10, 12 years. When we look about debts and assets and how they affect us, over the last 12 years, or the last 10 years, I want to say that anywhere from $7 to $10 million have been paid down. So that's a good thing, okay? When you can pay down in 10 years about $7 to $10 million, that means that's a positive. That, of course, increases our assets. So when we talk about what it is that we've done on the $8 million that we pass on tax bonds, when we look at the 12 we paid and we look at the 8 that we have, that tells us how we're going to pay for it, ladies and gentlemen. That tells us how we're going to be able to bring additional revenue to be able to supplement the projects that we have on the west side, the east side, the north side, and the south side. Anything and everything that we do, we always have a handle on. When we do these projects, we make sure that we're going to be able to pay for them and have the money in our funding balance. By the way, our funding balance is at about $7 or $8 million. That's probably about 6 or 7 months of operating expense. People ask me about that. What's the funding balance? That's like your savings account, okay? But rest assured that the city of Alice has a healthy funding imbalance, and we are prepared for emergencies, and we are prepared for in the fact something that goes south. So rest assured by being here telling you today that things are good when it comes to that. I just talked to you a little bit about annexation and what it's done. You know, the annexation, for those of you that are not familiar with what goes on the west side of town, from 44 to Highway 5054 on the east and the west side, that is a new city annexed land. 360 acres of land that I can't remember the last time that Alice annexed land. That's a very proud accomplishment. That's taken a lot of hard work. That's taken a lot of sweat and tears, and we got to that point. So I think we should be real proud about that, because it means additional sales revenue. It means that we get to sell more water out there. It means that we get to have new businesses out there. It means that we get to have things that we want, new restaurants, new hotels, things of that nature. So we are currently working really hard with the development group, the Lattice Creek Development Group, to make sure that we finish that master plan, that we finish what we're doing out there, and we want growth in Alice, Texas. So when we do that, that's a real positive, but that works in coalition with what we're doing in our sales tax, that works in coalition with what we're doing with our revenue, and it does just a lot of positive things. So those are some of the things that we're working on currently, and over the last year, it seems like a longer time, but it's been the last year. These are some of the things that City Council concentrates on. Now, improvements. I don't know if anybody's been to the airport in the last year or so. Of course, we have an agreement with Jim Wells County. We cost share everything we do. We have 50% agreement with that. Let me tell you a couple of things that we've done. We've actually had a new parking lot out there that we've been reimbursed for about $12,400 project that we've been reimbursed at 50% about $6,200. We had a $50,000 match from the city and the county on a repair for that, what they call the FBO building, for the facilities where we house all the individuals that work out there, our managers and things like that. Anytime you can get a match that's half or better, then you've done well. The biggest one that we've done is the design and construction match for about $850,000 for a $4.9 million project. So we put in $850,000, the other individuals put in, the state put in $4.9 million, and in that we had taxiways, aprons, and lighting. So the small little airport that you see out there is a state-of-the-art airport for small municipalities. I think it's something that we should be proud of. It's something that we got some additional monies to. And in conjunction with what we're working with the county and what we've done with them has enabled us to put our airport second to none in South Texas. So I'm real proud of that as well. When we talk about the police department, what we've done out there, you know, we've had a match of $49,000 for portable and mobile radios. We put in $848,000 from 2014. So you can quickly see that $848 for $49.5 is not a bad deal, right? Our department, there's a $59,000 upgrade for radios for interoperability. Those are some of the things. Of course, everybody wants to improve their radio systems. Everybody wants to be sure that we're communicating well. And there's a lot of, that's probably one of the basics, the hardest thing that we do when it comes to radios. So when you look at all these things, these are the projects that we're working on now. Last but not least is the multi-center, the multi-use center. People call it I call it the multi-use center because it is a multi-use center that everybody's going to be able to enjoy. Everybody's going to feel proud and know that when we go out there, you're going to see a facility that's second to none. Did it cost us some money? Yes, it did. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it did not. It did cost us some money. That project is scheduled for an April 18th date. All the monies in that project have been funded. There's no lack of money in that project. We already set that target date. And let me tell you something. When it comes to those issues, when it comes to the multi-use center, I don't know if y'all have been out there, but when you go out there and you see it, you'll realize that it was worth the investment, it's worth the time, but it's also worth what we're doing for families in Alice, Texas. Not only in Alice, Texas, but Jim Wells County. I envision that to see that we'll have people from the surrounding areas coming. They'll be looking at that. They'll be spending tax dollars here. They'll be spending money at our restaurants, and that's what's going to work for us. Right now, we're on our city council. We're getting ready to do a request for proposal on the management side of it. That's going to be coming up here pretty shortly. What we budgeted for that account is $724,000. We're optimistic that we get operating with that and bring in some revenue to offset some of that cost. Maintenance and operation are going to be tight, but we know that. We're planning for that. We understand how that works. So I want to commend staff for putting some good numbers together and knowing that what we're doing out there is going to be a great project. And it's going to be like everything else, ladies and gentlemen. When you go to the golf course, when you go to the airport, when you go to the parks, when you go to the library, those things don't make money sometimes. But those are the things that people enjoy. Those are the things that we take our family to, so that we can enjoy the fruits of our labor and to be able to enjoy our families and take the time that we need to. The multi-use center is that same project. Are we going to try to get it to break even? Absolutely. Will we do it the first year? Probably not. Probably not. I'll guarantee you that right now. But will we continue to work at it to minimize the maintenance operation? Yes, we will. We're always going to work to do that, but we got a state-of-the-art project. We're going to make sure that we get it finished. We're going to make sure that we're on top of it, and we're going to make sure that the city of Alice and Jim Wells County and every other surrounding county is going to be able to enjoy it, and it's going to be very proud for people to be able to go to that facility. I'm excited. I think it's a positive thing for the city of Alice. It's a positive thing for what we do as a community, and I'm dedicated to make that thing work. So that's something that's real positive. Now, one more item. Am I going real long? I'm already past 1 o'clock. I go too far. I talk too much, right? Some of the things that we do, ladies and gentlemen, the last one, I want to give you another 5 minutes because I know everybody's going to get back to their work. The last things that we're doing is on a water study. The City Council entertained Norris and Leal out of Austin, Texas to do a water study. Currently, they're going to be presenting a study to us, and it's something that probably you, the taxpayers, are going to be looking at and what we're going to do and how we're going to implement that. Different projects we're working on as wells, the purchase, of course, of water from Lake Mathis, the project that we have in the Stevens water line that comes from Agua Dulce. Those are the things that are going to be in that study. As that study is completed and sent to us, we will share that information with you, the taxpayers. We'll probably have a public hearing on it, and you're going to tell us what it is that we want to do and how much we want to spend. But we need to ensure that the next 50 years that we have an adequate water supply, that we make sure that Alice take care of itself, and I want to be self-dependent on it. So that way we know that this belongs to us and we don't have to depend on anybody else. So in the near future, that's going to be something that we'll talk about. Downtown revitalization, that's one of the future things that everybody's looking at. I know they met yesterday afternoon, the committee that met, I know whatever the consultants that we have at the venue and sharing that. We're looking at doing some really good projects downtown, renovating that, doing some new facades, do some things that we need to do out there so that we can bring downtown back, because I think it's important that we do that. Those are some of the things we're doing too. When we talk about, some other projects, TIFs, tax increment funds, and what we're doing, the areas that we designated are Capri Road off the bypass. The other area is multi-use center and downtown. Tax increment funds are designated areas where money that's derived from those tax increment funds are used for improvements in that area. The biggest problem that we have with the council, or the biggest concern we have with the council, was where do we get that money to improve those areas? The TIF funds are set up for that, so the monies that are derived from the development will be put back into those areas. Those areas will tell us how we're going to spend our money and what we're going to do. So this has been, these are some of the things that this council has worked on in the last year. The TIFs are a positive thing. I think the TIFs are where we need to go. And those are some of the things that we've done as well. So in essence, ladies and gentlemen, and I know I've gotten a little long, people tell me that I talk too much and that I go too long, but I get really, really passionate when it comes to these things, and I really get excited knowing that that we work as a team in the city of Alice. You know, when we look at everything that we've talked about here today and what we've done with our city manager on the key positions that we've hired, our ordinances, addressing our utility rates, supporting all our improvements that we've done, our sales tax numbers, our grants, our multi-use, our water study. There's a lot of things that we've done, and this council has been very progressive. This council, in my 12 years of being in city government, I can tell you that I've not been on a council that has been progressive. They're conservative, if you can be, but they're progressive. They've thought out of the box, they've thought about what's positive, and they've made some hard decisions that were maybe not politically correct. Kudos to them for doing that, because it's not an easy thing to be able to sit up there and take some slack on different controversies. But I want to congratulate them on the short period of time that we've worked together and the amount of work that we put into it. Not only, again, from the council, but the city staff. Our city staff is second to none, everybody. I give these individuals a lot of credit. They work hard for us. They do a lot of really good things to them. And when you see a city employee, tell them thank you. You know what? Because they do a lot. So I can't say it enough to know that they do some really good things. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this is what it's about. Alice is a resilient community. Alice is Alice. Alice is like the coyotes. We always come together, we work together. At the end of the day, we make it work. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to make these projects work. We're going to discuss them. We're going to have a healthy debate about them. But we're going to make things work. We're working from all these projects, even to legislative-wise. Pete and I were in Austin last week. We've been really active with Jan Lozano's office. We've been active with Senator Hinojosa's office. Those are the things that we want representation and that we're there for so that we can make it better for you. And the people that make it better for you are not the city council. It's you. Y'all are the individuals that make Alice work. Y'all are the individuals that say that at the end of the day, this is Alice, this is what we do, this is how we make it better. So if I can leave here with something, ladies and gentlemen, it's to leave here with this. We are positive, we're moving forward, and Alice will be second to none. As long as I'm the mayor of Alice, Texas, I will ensure that I work tirelessly, effortlessly, and make sure that we do the right things, and Alice will be where we need to be. Thank you, and I appreciate that. God bless each and every one.
Right on time, just a little bit over schedule, but you did good. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, citizens of Alice. Thank you, attendees. This concludes our 2015 State of the City address by Mayor Larry Martinez. May God bless you, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your day.